Google has always had a soft spot for language. A few years ago, they started by translating the web with their famous Google Translate service. More recently, though, they've invented techniques that could help them better understand search queries with the help of machine learning. Not just that, but the same technology can be used for AI-based chat tech. Let's take a deeper look at it. Starting with, there's always room for improvement. While many similar bots have come out, there's always room for improvement, especially considering that language is extremely adaptable and nuanced. It's able to be literal, figurative, flowery, plain, inventive, or even informational. It's this versatility that makes language one of our best tools, but a computer's biggest nightmare. Their latest breakthrough is called LaMDA, which adds a piece to one of the most difficult puzzles of language, which is conversation. While all conversations go around very specific topics, they're pretty open-ended, which means that they can end up in a completely different place than where they started. A talk with someone about a show could soon turn into a conversation about the country it was filmed in, shortly before taking a turn towards the country's cuisine. This can completely trump all kinds of modern conversational agents, such as chatbots that are only able to keep up while talking in a narrow, predefined path. This is where LaMDA shines, short for language model for dialogue applications, and can engage in multiple free-flowing conversations with an almost endless amount of topics. An ability that could potentially unlock more natural methods of interacting with any kind of technology, opening up completely new kinds of applications. It's only possible because of its architecture producing a model that can be trained to read a lot of words together, pay attention to how they relate to one another, and then reply. Moreover, the long road to LaMDA. Unlike other language models on the market, LaMDA is trained with dialogues. During training, it's able to pick up on a lot of nuances that set open-ended conversations apart from other forms of the same language. An important one of these nuances is sensibleness. How would it respond if someone told it that they're now taking guitar lessons? We might expect another person to be excited and share an anecdote about such an interest in their life. After all, phrases such as "that's nice" are just as sensible of a reply in almost all statements. Similar to how "I don't know" is an appropriate reply to almost all questions. But satisfying replies also have to be specific to the conversation, relating to it. LaMDA tries to build on earlier research by Google that was published in 2020, showing that language models that were transformer-based could ultimately learn how to talk about almost anything. Since then, they've also managed to figure out that the technology can be further refined to make its responses much more sensible and specific. The company has taken obvious lessons from other technology giants' experiences in the past, as they opened up chatbots to the public, one of the most famous of those being Microsoft's Tay. This bot in particular could learn how to swear and be offensive, but Google's technology doesn't intend to learn from users. Furthermore, Marshmallow Planet. Google showed off LaMDA for a bit, though it did come with certain scenarios. As of right now, users weren't allowed to record anything or quote anyone. They only had 30 minutes to use the technology. Moreover, they could not have the app on their phones before the launch, and the demo was handled by another staff member. Their reason is understandable, and only 3 scenarios were available to test out. The first being imagination, which included asking LaMDA to imagine it somewhere and then play along with it. The second was that it could break down what you needed to do a complete task. Finally, it could even explore scenarios that had dogs involved. One of the users asked it to imagine it was on a marshmallow planet. Its response surprised everyone and was far superior to anything we've seen before, whether it's on shopping websites or banking apps. It responded by saying that the user was in a world made of marshmallows, and that as they take a step, a small squish sound comes out from under their feet. It then talked about its horizon, the sky and its color, and even the wind blowing around. When asked about the sky's sticky pink color, it gave an elaborate reply about candy floss. Lastly, responsibility first. While these early results are incredible and have us looking forward to seeing more soon, sensitivity and being specific aren't the only qualities Google has to work on in LaMDA. The team has decided to also look into dimensions such as interestingness, by making sure that replies are witty, insightful, or at least unexpected. Being Google, they also want it to be factually accurate, and they're even looking into ways to not just make conversations with it intriguing, but also true. But one of the most important questions we need to ask ourselves themselves when it comes to it is if such chatbots can adhere to AI principles. Language is humanity's best tool, but it can still be used for evil. Models trained on the same tool can learn to misuse it as well. For example, if they internalize bias, copy misinformation, and mirror hate speech. Even if the language it learns is carefully curated, the model itself would still be vulnerable to misuse. The company has released a version of the app in the UK that lets users talk to the AI systems that one engineer claimed was sentient, though it's a very limited trial with only 3 scenarios to work with. While they want feedback about how LaMDA works for users, we can't teach it anything new. Moreover, the company has always claimed that the technology it uses to power it doesn't have any kind of independent thoughts or feelings. Moving on, watch Google's Ping-Pong robot pull off a 340-hit rally. Coming up, it's not just about ping-pong. Google's newest AI has taken things a step further, with its ability to beat most players at ping-pong. While they may claim that it's cooperative, with how fast AI is evolving these days, it's not a long time till we see them take on pros. This project is called iSim2Real, though it isn't just about the game. Instead, it's their attempt at making a robotic system that's capable of working with and around fast-paced human behavior that's unpredictable. Games like ping-pong, also called table tennis, have an advantage in that they have tight constraints as opposed to other sports, with a balance of simplicity while still being complex. Moving on to Sim2Real. Sim2Real is an AI creation process that involves a machine learning model that is then taught what it's supposed to do in either a simulation or virtual environment. It can then use this very same knowledge and apply it in real-world scenarios. This entire process is extremely important and can take years of just trial and error to make a model that works. However, doing it through a sim allows it to learn years of real-time training in a matter of a few minutes or hours. Though sim training can't cover everything, what if a robot at one point needs to interact with a human? That's almost impossible to fully simulate. Thus, real-world data through such trials is essential. In the end, we're left with a chicken and egg problem. If we can't gather enough human data, there's no point. On the other hand, we need to make a robot to be able to get human data in the first place. Google's team avoided this problem by starting at the bare minimum and making a feedback loop, using a simple model of human behavior as a starting point, then alternating between training the AI in a sim and using that information in the real world. In each run, both human models and their policies are improved. Finally, it's only just the beginning to learn. Though it's completely normal to start with a bad example of human behavior since the robot is also just starting to learn. With every game, more and more human data is collected, massively improving its accuracy, along with letting the AI learn even more. The approach was so successful that the table tennis robot could easily carry out a game with a 340-point rally. Not just that, but it also returned the ball to different areas on the table. Though admittedly it was kind of sloppy, but good enough to get the job done. Moreover, the team tried multiple approaches as well. One of them was much more goal-oriented, such as returning the ball to a very specific place on the table from multiple positions. While they may have opened doors towards the ultimate ping-pong machine, AI is more about finding a way to train with and for human interactions efficiently, so that people don't have to repeat the same actions thousands of times for it to learn. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on LaMDA? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.